The next one is Jim Turpin. Thank you.
I think I know you. He swam with my wife in 1980. Remember?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and but I've been swimming there since about the 1950s or the 1960s.
I was the treasurer of the first World Masters.
The World Masters swimming games.
Oh my God.
My wife was on the committee.
Yes, she was.
With you, that's right. Yeah, my darling wife. Yeah. Good on you. You've been witness to this. And my closing bit, what does that say?
Save the Warranui Pole.
Well, now I'm saying it at the beginning. Good on you.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. It is what the club's all about. That would have to be the best demonstration of what the presentations have been about this morning that I've seen. So, well done.
It's you. Wait until you hear this one.
No, it was you two connecting with each other. You two connecting with each other. You're going to have to top that. That's amazing.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning. You've no doubt had time to read and digest my recent supplementary submission as well as my original one. So briefly, there's time for you to question me or tell me where I'm wrong, because I'm aware there's only 3 minutes of this thing. I'd like to just go over the two main things and just the headlines, so you've got the time. You'll have seen the veiled threat, and you could and should reject the officer's proposal for the land drainage targeted rates on this alone. It's not becoming of this council to send out stuff that's got veiled threats on it amongst things. There's also an equally and compelling reason to reject it though, and that's because in support of its reasoning, the proposal it mentions then completely ignores the original and continuing 100% benefit to those serviced by the land drainage rate, and then promotes to unjustly penalise those who don't share any of that benefit. And you may recall in my submissions I said if there was no drainage there'd be no buildings and there'd be no rates, and the officers said that it's targeted mainly for the central business district. And if you understand my note, if I did it clearly enough on the economy, that's how it gets back to other people like this that you're trying to unjustly charge. So think about it. Our founding councils did, and they were smart enough to put it in the right place and handle it fairly and properly. So this council must reject that proposal from its officers and act to that. Please don't forget the other things that I've put in my things. Now you've got 2 minutes, I hope, to question me and tell me where I'm wrong. And then I'll say the Warranui Pool again.
We've had a number of submissions on the subject matter. I mean, you've raised an element of it in relation. Was that in relation to the letter that was sent, or was that?
My supplementary, I decided when I had put in my submission, I was referring to a document that perhaps the councillors hadn't read, because it was a supplementary letter that went out on the 31st of March.
Yeah.
Belatedly, you might say, right?
Yeah, I've got a copy
So I
of it now.
included that in my supplementary thing,
Yeah.
so that perhaps my submission made a little bit more sense, or made more sense.
Right. Okay. I haven't got the letter in front of me.
Well, I hope it still come through. It was on the same sheet of paper.
I have got the letter. I've got it somewhere, but I've just trying to find it.
That letter, I think one thing I said, it's very biased. It's in my view, designed to confuse and obscure what it's trying to achieve. And if someone doesn't look at it very closely, there's a lot of words and lots of figures and misleading things in there. You never get through to some of it. That's my view.
Right. So that's how you've taken the way that has been written.
That's what it's. Yes. No, that's not. I take it. That's what it says. It actually says that. Doesn't say it's dismissed it. It says, well, if we don't get this through, we're going to do it anyway because we believe that we've got the policy to do it, yet 2 pages earlier on they say they don't know what the policy is, so they've got an undefined policy. The officers, I just think, well, you better stop me.
The council made the decision.
I'm happy to sit down with anyone outside of this meeting if anyone wants me to go and try and clarify what I'm saying or I'm doing at any time if they'd like me to.
Yeah, okay.
But there's 2 reasons. That's one on its
The way
own.
that I read it is that if the council does resolve to proceed with this change, the targeted rate will be introduced over 3 years. Anyway,
That's right.
yeah. Sorry, no, I'm struggling to find the actual phrasing, that's all. And,
Well, Would you like me to come up and show you? I've got a copy of the letter here too. It's, if you look at the thing that said that the main heading, there's a covering letter, then there's the proposal, and if you go to the 3rd page, at the bottom of it, I think it's alternative option 2. No change to existing land policy, drainage rate and stuff. If we don't do the change today, they say, if we made no changes to the existing land drainage rating policy, we would aim to change our practices and to come more in line with the policy. Key changes would be they would then move to consistently do what you haven't passed today. That's a threat.
okay, I
Right,
read
and
it, I
you
read
just
it a
and
slightly
they'll just
different
do it on
way.
anything. Okay, you've got to laugh on any property that's got a roof structure larger than a garden shed, which would just about be any property in the world. Any property you've got, so they're going to do it even if you don't pass it. That's a threat.
Well, we can't
No,
do it. We can't do it if you
yeah,
don't pass
I
it.
think it's, but I mean, the way that I read that was that it was, I didn't read that as a threat, I read that as a, that was the other option that they looked at. Yeah, but I haven't had that explained to me. I would read that a slightly different way. But look, you've drawn it to our attention, and I think that's the most important thing. And it is something that we will get advice on. So thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. There are a number of people who've submitted on the subject generically, so I think we'll be looking at it very carefully.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, there are more reasons than just that too,
Yeah.
by the way.
No, I understand that. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
And save the Warranui pool.
Juliet Hendry on behalf of Generation